Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new video. This is Michael from Real World Fishing, and I would like to talk about how and where to use topwaters or poppers. Alright, well the first question is, what are topwater poppers? Well, if this is the water right here, they sit right up on top of it with the hook sinking down below it. Alright, they sit about right in here. Alright, and you pop them towards you. They don't go under or anything. They can if you put weight on them, but you never put weight on a popper ever. Okay, so when you're doing that, the fish think it's basically a bait fish that's been injured so much. You know, when you're fishing, you see those sunfish that are just on the top of the water. Well, they think it's one of those. So what they do is they come up and they see this little guy and they snatch it and they go swim back down. It's kind of like a bass jumping out of the water, for example. Alright guys, second question. It is, what does a popper look like when you're in the store? Okay, a popper looks something like a regular bait basically, or a lure, not a bait, but it has a flat opening on it. You see that? You see that? It's not, it doesn't go in. For example, I'll show you one of these. So for example, it's not like in like that. It stops right at the middle. Okay, suggesting that it goes through the water, and when it goes through the water, it creates a tension with the waves, causing more fish to be attracted towards it. Well, since fish can't really see on the top of the water, they can see what's in the water. This makes a lot of noise. You hear that? A lot of noise. This is probably one of the loudest, lures I've ever had. Topwaters are very loud. See, speak of this one too. They're all loud. If they're not loud, do not buy it. They must have a rattle in them for them to actually work properly. Alright, also with topwaters, there are little tails on this to make more visuals. I've never seen it make a great drastic change in if the fish bite or not, but I mean, if you want to buy it with a tail, I mean, it maybe will make a difference. I'm not completely sure, so don't quote me on anything about this, but I'd buy a tail. Alright, so now I'm done looking at and describing what a popper looks like. Basically, just a flat or rounded little, front that's basically flat with, big rattle. That's basically what a popper looks like. Alright, question 3. When to use a popper. It's like everything else. When to use it and where to use it. It's great for bays. You have to use bays as your advantage for this, because you're not going in 20 feet of water and expecting some fish that's 10 feet down in the water just see your popper and go all the way up and catch it. That's basically, impossible circumstances. Also, you use them on bays, and you use them in early morning and late night. Bass aren't going to be on the bays at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when it's 90 degrees out and it's boiling hot. Like, the biggest reason fishermen don't catch fish sometimes is because they're trying to fish the bays when it's scorching hot out. They are in deeper waters, and you have to use, the right lures at the right time. So, sorry for the rant, but poppers, early morning, late night, that's what you use them for. They rattle, they make noise. If you want to catch a bass on this thing, you have to use it at those times. I mean, if you're trying to use it at like 12 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to be very slim you're going to catch anything. I'm saying that as a fact. Alright, so where to use topwaters? Basically, use them on shorelines. It doesn't matter if you're in a lake or a pond. You're probably going to catch something if you're throwing it out there at the certain amount of times that I said. And it depends on how pressured the lake is. Alright guys, fourth question, and that is how to reel the popper in. The popper is a very, it's kind of like a frog, for example, like this, but, or it's exactly like it basically. You just with little taps on the rod, you just trigger it as trying to swim away, as triggering a bait fish, for example. And you can't reel them this fast, because bass can't keep up to something. Well, they can, but They're not going to go after something that's swimming as fast as they can on top of the water. That's not a realistic fish. Have you ever seen fish, for example, that have been, injured enough where they're on the top of the water, they, pause for a second, but they try to swim away and they can't because they're injured. Alright, so there's 2 ways that I usually fish this, and this is the 2 ways I'll use with my hands as an expression. I just use my line in and go very slowly, and then reel in the extra line, and I do that very, very slowly, okay? Or you can use this as basically a sound, a rattle, huge rattle. So every single time, like I'm just gonna jerk this a little, ready? It makes a lot of noise. So what I do that as an advantage, I just pop it a little, pop, and it makes so much noise and it ripples so much in the water because they notice that. If you have waves, you can't use this. You honestly cannot use this if you have waves. This is for crystal clear water, or not crystal clear, like glass water on the top where there's no wind whatsoever. Alright guys, for the recap of the video, I'm just going to say how to use the popper. You jerk it just a little at a time, or you jerk it in very slowly. This is meant for glass covering of the water with no wind whatsoever. You have to fish this off the banks or fish this off the boat to the banks and reeling it back. Also guys, remember that the water clarity does not really matter. They have to see the thing or they have to hear it. So make sure you have a loud rattle for if in case it's murky waters, and make sure they can see it. Like this is a small one, but it catches me a lot of big bass. Don't be afraid to buy the little tiny one and not this huge one that I have right here. Size does not necessarily matter. You don't have to have a huge lure to catch a huge fish. I've caught huge bass on these little tiny toppers, for example, that are meant for basically 13-inch bass, when I'm catching 20-inch bass with them, which doesn't make any sense, but it's true. And also remember that this is meant to be used as a topwater. Don't use this as a crankbait. I can't tell you this enough. This is not meant to be a jig where you put it on the water and you just let it sit there and jerk it every once in a while on the bottom of the water. This is a topwater thing, and once they engulf the fish, let it sink into their throat a little, okay? So when it's actually in their throat, wait for a second. Don't rip it right out of their mouth, or else they're gonna spit it out, and you're not gonna have a fish, and you're just gonna scare it off. So when the bass, for example, or a pike can go after this too. When a pike's or a bass is usually going in for, I'll try to hold it better. When it's going in, let it eat it, okay? And once it closes its mouth, so basically maybe half a second, you feel the tug, jerk it out, and it's gonna get caught on it's gonna get caught up on like right here or down here, or on the side of their mouth. Alright guys, well that is it to wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoy and you learned something today. I can't tell you how many people do not know how to use topwater fish or topwater fishing, and I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll probably do frogging early soon. I haven't been catching a lot of frogs lately, so I can't tell you what works and what doesn't. So enjoy the video, have a great day, and I'll see you guys later.